Okay, everyone, welcome back to Science. Today we are going to talk about the moon and stars. I'm so excited because I have so many things I want to tell you about space. Now, to complete the worksheet for today, you will need your Science Studies Weekly, okay? Make sure you have that. You won't need it for this video, but you will need it for the activity later. Okay, so in the last video, we talked about the moon, and we said that the moon had different phases that it went through. Okay, and we start with a new moon, and we go around, and we get to a full moon, and then when we go back to a new moon, the cycle starts over again. And do you remember what we call the moon when it's getting brighter, when we can see more of it every day? We call it a waxing moon. And then when it begins to get darker again, when we see less of it, it's a waning moon. Now, here's one thing that's really cool. Do you remember how long it takes to complete this cycle? It was in your magazine. About 28 days. And guess what? That's about how long a month is. And a long time ago, the months were not 30 days, they were 28 days because they followed the pattern of the moon. And look at the word month. It actually comes from the word moon. Okay? So month and Monday or moon day are all connected. It was such an important part of our history and of our stories. People always looked at the moon to try and predict the future and make calendars and things like that. Okay, we'll talk about more about the moon later. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about today, which I mentioned last time, was constellations. Constellations are these pictures that people think they see in the stars. Now, there are no pictures, there are no crayon drawings hanging from the sky. I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, so from the ground in Ocean City, we can't really see a lot of stars. There are lots of lights, especially in summer. It's really hard to look up and see a lot of stars. But if we were to go to the mountains like the Poconos or really far away from any city, we would be able to see thousands of stars. Now, there's a constellation here called the Big Dipper, and this was in our last video. Now, of course, these lines are not really there. I'm putting them there to help you see the picture. And people look up at the sky and they say, oh, yeah, it looks like a pot or a saucepan or a dipper or a ladle. Okay, that's what they think when they look up. These stars are really far away from each other. They're not even close, actually. But a long time ago, people didn't look up and see the dipper. They saw something else. They saw something called Ursa Major. Ursa Major is the Great Bear. Now you might be thinking, well, is there a bear in the sky? No, but they saw a pattern of stars that looked like it might be a bear. And watch this. Look at the tail of the bear. See where I'm going with this? See where I'm going with this? There's the Big Dipper. So for us, the Big Dipper is actually part of a much bigger constellation, a much bigger picture in the sky. Okay, Ursa Major, the Great Bear. Ursa is the Latin word for bear, and major just means big. So for thousands of years, people have looked up at the sky, they've looked at the stars, and they've thought, oh yeah, I see the constellation of a great hero, or I see the constellation of that mighty animal. They used to do things like that and tell stories about them. I'm going to show you another one. Now, this is one of my favorites. Can you look at the brightest stars and figure out what this is? This is pretty tough. While you're thinking about it, I can show you this star here. You can see how it's a different color. It's a huge red star called Betelgeuse. Okay, so just like we said the other day that there were stars that were many different colors, you can see one here. Okay, now people used to look up at the sky at this constellation and they thought they saw a great hunter named Orion. Now, for us, it's a little difficult to see a hunter. I mean, I just see a bunch of dots. But if you look more closely, you can almost see what they saw. Okay, he's got his hand raised, like he's probably going to strike an animal. There's Betelgeuse, the red star. There's his shield. Okay, so people used their imaginations. This is his belt. Okay, those three stars remind us of Orion's belt. So there are lots of stories like this, and there are many constellations. There's so many of them, actually. Some of them we can't see from our part of the earth. We have to be like in Australia or in Brazil, and we have some that they can't see. But the constellations are so important in helping us think about all of the stories that we've told over the years. And you know what? Even Disney mentions constellations. You know who this guy is? Hercules? Yeah, he dreams in the movie, or he thinks about, he's fascinated by having his image put in the stars. He wants to become a constellation too. Okay? So when you look up at the night sky, and of course, a clear night sky, there are no clouds, see if you can find any pictures, kind of like we do in the daytime with clouds, and we say, oh, that looks like a skunk, or that looks like a raccoon. Look up at the sky and say, those stars kind of look like, I don't know, a spider, a dragon, or something like that. Okay. Okay, boys and girls, that's it for science today. There's a worksheet in your packet. If some of you may not have it, you can download it from Power School. And if you don't have it, just have mom or dad contact me and I'll send it home. This is about the different types of stars that are mentioned in the Science Weekly magazine that we read yesterday. Okay, that's it for today. Have a great day. The end.